Hey YouTube, it's Adam from I'm a Music Mogul. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to properly add reverb to your mixes. So let's get straight to the tutorial. Here's what we have so far for our mix in dry format without any reverb applied. So we're going to start off by adding reverb to this first track right here. So a lot of times a producer would just throw on a reverb onto the actual track itself as an insert and they're good to go. Most cases this is not a good method to use because you pretty much want to reuse the same reverb across different tracks in your mix so that your song will kind of sound like a whole as if it's coming from one unit. So to do that, you're going to go to your send section and go to choose a bus. I'm going to choose bus 1 because it's available. And for now, I'm just going to send it out at unity gain. So I'm going to send some signal out at unity gain with this little circle right here. Hold down the option key on your keyboard, click it. And now we got some signal setting to our reverb auxiliary track. So since this is a reverb aux track, we're going to bring in, of course, a reverb effect plugin. And we're going to use Platinum Verb. I'm just going to go ahead and adjust this to create a nice long reverb. A key thing to note when your reverb is on an auxiliary track, you're going to want to make sure that your dry is set to 0 and that your wet is set to 100%. And the way you're going to balance between the dry mix and the wet mix, which is your reverb, is this fader right here on the actual auxiliary track. Now in Logic, it defaults to 0 dry, 100% wet, but if your DAW doesn't do that, make sure you set that so you don't have any confusion. So now since we set up our first reverb, I want to go ahead and add reverb to our other tracks right here. So I'm going to hit X on my keyboard to bring out my mixer window. And I'm going to select my 3 other tracks. And since I already set up my reverb bus, I'm going to bus it out to the same bus. So let's bus it out to bus 1. Now if I call this reverb, which I should have done before, you'll see when you select the actual bus when you're sending it out, in brackets it'll say what the track is. So we'll say reverb. This way you know exactly what you're sending to, because sometimes you don't remember what bus is what. This I'm also going to send out at unity gain. Actually, maybe the pianos I'm going to send out a little bit more, give some more reverb to that, and the ARP I'm just going to lower this a bit to about 4. All right, so here's everything together. Let's actually bring the reverb to a proper level. So we're going to start off with no reverb and then slowly bring in some reverb into our mix. So that sounds about right there. Now since we are working with a large haul kind of reverb, a very long tail reverb, you're going to want to cut out the lows. So let's open up an EQ. And you're pretty much just going to want to cut off everything below 500 hertz. I'm just going to type in 500 here. Just as a starting point for you guys, just throw it on quickly. And use a slope of about 12 dBs per octave. And you're going to get something that sounds like this. What you're doing right now is just cleaning up your reverb, and if you have this off, your track is going to sound very muddy. So here it is with it off. With it on. It just cleans up that track. Now you may not hear it completely in the mix, but if I solo out my reverb, you're going to definitely hear a difference. So that reverb could get pretty muddy, but now if I cut out the lows, you're kind of just focusing on the reverb aspect of it and just gives it a nicer feel when the whole mix is complete. So let's go ahead and A/B our reverb off and of course our reverb on. So I'm going to push our reverb up a little bit here. So here it is off. So that sounds pretty good right there. As a word of thought for you guys when you're adding your reverb, generally what engineers say as a word of thought or word of thumb, whatever that saying is, you pretty much want to add a reverb to the point where you don't really hear that there's a reverb there, but when you remove it, something sounds off and completely different. But when you add it, it just completes the sound. That's when you know you hit the sweet spot. So that is how you add or properly add reverb to your mixes in any DAW, not just Logic. If you have any questions on this, you can ask me in the comment section below. If you're new to I'm a Music Mogul, remember to hit that subscribe button for more good videos like these. And remember to thumbs up and share this video if you liked it or learned something from it. And as usual guys, I'll see you all in the next video. Happy recording, happy producing. See you all later.